Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Duncan Makon. I'm a member of parliament from Vihiga. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, as far as I know the constitution of Bunge la Wananchi, we know that we have to fight with the ideas. If it is fighting, fight your members' ideas, but not an individual. And that is what we are going to do here. We don't have to use abusive language or something contrary to our constitution here. Because I've realized that some of us are running faster than a man who has been given extra change in our shop. Mr. Speaker, the first thing I want to start with ni pesa za Hustler Fund. We know hizi pesa za Hustler Fund ni pesa ambazo tumepewa na ni loan. Kwa hivyo lazima irudishwe. So these are some of the ways that the government makes sure that the citizens remain to be captives of the government, and therefore we are still the captives of our government, the same as the way we are captives of China. We are their captives, and therefore we have to agree on that. So we have to pay back. Failure to pay, Mr. Speaker, you all know even some of us, we have got money lenders and we are given, unakuwa na deni ya mtu. Na ukikosa kulipa, you know the repercussions. We all know that hata you won't settle, even you won't stay peacefully because of that debt. Hata utembei kwa njia ukiwa na amani, ati nitakutana na yeye na alinikopesha sijarudisha. That is the same situation that you'll be. We failure to pay that money. Second thing, Mr. Speaker, it is RUTO bringing back BBI. As far as I'm concerned, Mr. Speaker, I know that His Excellency President William Ruto didn't oppose everything in that BBI. I may not tell what he opposed or not, but he actually said that I'm not opposing everything. There are some things that I'm opposing, but not everything. So this thing to do with creating the opposition, the position of the opposition leader, I tend to think it is not what he opposed earlier, Mr. Speaker, and therefore I think this is political science, and therefore that is one way of diluting opposition, whereby you create a way in which you want to have your opponent in a certain cage so that you can easily spy on him, and therefore you keep on going and everything runs the way you want. And look at it in this way, that that opposition leader will have to be funded, that office. And therefore, when you are funded by the government, you become its captive. And therefore, you'll have to do nothing. Even ndio watakuwa wamemaliza kabisa, opposition will lack in our country. Mr. Speaker, the third issue, it is whether CDF is good or must be back or not. I think this is one of the things that has really helped developments in these schools. We have got the vulnerable children, the vulnerable families. They have been helped by this CDF. Mr. Speaker, sometimes we tend to go by this Western culture where we say that the higher you go, the cooler it becomes. So this wabunge, they are high to the topmost of their limit, and therefore this is one of the work that they have to do with that money. Na hata wakati wanakuja hapa kututembelea hivi, you know, they have to allocate that money for everything. And hata wakienda shule, hizo pesa zinatengeneza madawati, zinatengeneza darasa, and therefore wanapunguzia hata wazazi gharama. Hautaambiwa sasa kama mzazi wakati unaadmit mtoto kwa shule leta dawati. No, because it is already there, catered by CDF. And so hiyo kitu irudi, hiyo pesa zirudi na zisaidiane maneno na shule. Mr. Speaker, lastly, I want to talk about the impeachment of Meru Governor, that is His Excellency Mama Mwangaza. I think that is contrary to the law, but I think I don't know what is happening, and it is just simply politics. Because, Mr. Speaker, for you to nominate, to appoint someone, this thing, it is, you follow a certain procedure constitutionally. They are accusing her of appointing his people or even the husband. When when she was not elected, when she had not been elected, we find that that was her husband. So they were not to part ways when now she has been elected. No, he remains his husband. And we find that in Kenya, that is not a form of nepotism whereby you give that man a chance. No, it is because I can be a governor, my wife has got his credentials and everything that is needed to be appointed in a certain office. And therefore, whenever you call for interviews, he or she has the right to bring his or her own things to be vetted. And therefore, I tend to think these MCS for Meru are playing with our minds, because even in that position that he was chosen, I think this man was vetted. So where were they at that point? Where were they? I tend to know that. Mr. Speaker, I rest my case. Thank you.